All right, ladies and gents, today is March 1st, which means it is a new month, a fresh start. I actually had a very good February. I knocked out 19 units. We're gonna go over that a little bit later. First, I have to move this Traverse Premier that I traded in yesterday. I sold this truck when it was brand new. As you can see, it does have some damage here on the back. We have to get this into the auction queue online because we're not keeping it here. We're not gonna fix it. We are sending it directly to auction. We got some damage here on the front. I think there's a ding or something on this side, which is pretty nasty. You know, so just something that we're not willing to invest the money in to keep to then retail on the used car lot. This deal is actually also a sign of the future because this gentleman bought their lease out, right, about 4 months ago maybe, and ever since they did buy it out, they've been itching to get a new vehicle. And I've been seeing a lot of that. I've been seeing people that bought their lease out because that was the best option at the time, but they really wanted a new car. So when rates do come down and when you know, supply does increase, we will have no problem selling vehicles. Meaning there will be plenty of customers that come out to buy new cars. You know, we don't have any shortage of demand here at Chevrolet. We still just have a shortage of inventory. I think last month I easily turned away a dozen people looking for Tahoes and Suburbans. If we can get those, that would be excellent. Also, if we can get bolts built, we still have a tremendous amount of bolts on order that are just not getting filled fast enough. This month in March, I actually have, I believe, 6 inbound units. I have 5 bolts that should be here sometime mid-month, and I have 1 Tahoe that should be here mid-month. That Tahoe I took a deposit on in August of last year. I just had a company drop 2 lease returns off. They're both 2020 LS front-wheel drive Equinoxes. The silver one has a whopping 976 miles on it. The white one has 1,626 miles, both 3-year-old vehicles. These we did in fact buy, and they will make very good vehicles for someone who's in need. My next order of business is I have to deliver a Chevy Equinox. It is a Blue Glow RS model. Here it is, all ready to go, detailed, cleaned up. Let me get on the good side here with the light so you can really see the color. I think the Blue Glow and the RS with all the darker trim, darker wheels, it really looks great. Nice combination. You'll never guess what the customer is trading out of. They're actually, they're going to Chevy and they're leaving Toyota. This is their RAV4 lease. They had about six months left or so. We were able to break that lease, get them out, get them some equity, and put that equity towards the Equinox to help lower the payment. So the customer is very, very happy. And yes, that's 1 point Chevrolet, 0 Toyota. We got our list of all the cars we sold. I'm not gonna do it here. We're gonna go into the office that's right back here. Let me show you where I've been making videos because somebody had asked in a recent one. Rather than making a video here on the showroom floor and just having like the distractions of the dealership, I go into what is our BDC department, business development department. Now we don't have a BDC at the moment. We handle all the leads and stuff like that. But in here is where they used to work. I have my ring light right here. You can see I put 3 little dots on this desk. That tells me where I need to put the tripod. So when I sit here, let me put the light on. You get the background that you've seen in some of my recent videos. A lot of you also mentioned the phone, which yes, the phone does go absolutely crazy. And in here, it's just better. I can make videos in here. I sort of have a little bit of privacy because the door is closed. I can stumble my audio and all the things that happen off camera that you don't see on the edited version of one of my videos. Let's go over the cars I sold last month. This is gonna be super quick. Did 19 units, 8 of them were used, 11 of them were new. Now, what I did was I broke down where the source of the client was. So of the 19 cars I sold, 9 of them were fresh clients. That is either somebody who walks through the front door, who I greet for the first time, or because like I just said, we don't have a business development center, we are the BDC, we handle leads. It's a round robin type situation where you get email leads that come into our system. So, you know, you contact the email lead, whether it be by email, by text, by phone, you try to set the appointment, you get the customer down here, show them the car, hopefully you sell it. So that is also considered a fresh client. So 9 of the 19 were fresh clients. 5 of the sales were previous clients. A lot of people do come back and buy vehicles from me over and over again. I truly appreciate that. I think it kind of just shows how I am as a salesperson and how the dealership operates, that we try to make customers feel as comfortable as possible. We make it a very easygoing experience. It's not all the back and forth. It's not all the typical dealership type games you see. It's a very easy experience of this is what we're willing to do, this is what we can do, and whether you want to do it or not is totally up to you. I think, again, that ease of business is why people keep coming back. And also, 3 of these were referrals. So referring customers to us is something as a salesperson we always appreciate as well. Again, it shows us we're doing a good job. Actually, today I had customers earlier that came in, they're looking at a Trailblazer lease. They're also getting out of a, not a Toyota, I'm sorry, it was a Nissan. They're gonna get out of a Nissan. I just sold their children a car last month. One of these 19 was their Traverse. So they went home, their parents said today they had a great experience, and that's really why they stopped in today to maybe look at a vehicle for themselves. That puts us at 17. The last 2 deals were house deals. Now, a house deal for us is really like an employee purchase, right? So one of our employees did purchase a Trailblazer. I got that unit. Now, I don't get paid a commission on that particular deal. I just get the unit. I do all the running around. I do whatever has to get done to help the deal get through, to facilitate that deal. And I also spend some time with the employee showing them the car and how it works and stuff like that. So for me, it counts as a unit. It goes towards my unit bonus. But again, no commission paid on that car. And the other one that was a house deal, which I think a lot of you may be surprised about, was actually the C8 Corvette. And I want to touch on that for a minute or two. Now, we did in fact sell that C8 Corvette at MSRP. Yes, we did have an addendum on that car for $10,000 over MSRP. I mentioned it in the video, the comments, there's feedback all different directions. Here's the problem I have with this situation, right? So we get very few Corvettes. We get maybe 15 to 20 a year. It's been that way in my entire career, 18 years being here. We're not trying to compete with a local dealer who's 2 hours away in South Jersey who just happens to be the #1 Corvette store in the country. We can't compete with somebody who gets hundreds upon hundreds of Corvettes a month when we're talking about 15 to 20 per year. So for the last 3 years, we were sold out of Corvettes. I still have 6 now that are being pushed to the 2024 model year because we won't get allocations anymore for 2023. So we don't have any available. We sell all the factory orders at MSRP. When this one became available, they said, let's put an addendum on it. And if we can sell it for 10,000 over, we will. But let's see what happens when it gets here. Now, I think, in my opinion, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but I feel the 10,000 over MSRP addendum is a good thing in that we don't have to sell it for that, like we didn't. Now, we can, if somebody's willing to pay it, we're willing to sell it. But what does it do? It stops anybody from flipping the car. Because one of the things that people don't like is when a dealership sells a vehicle, like a Corvette, to someone, and then they find out that customer flipped that car, right? Who's at fault then? The dealership. And they would say, you shouldn't have sold it to somebody who was going to flip the car. Sell it to somebody who actually wants the car. Well, you can't read minds. How do we know that? So by putting a $10,000 market adjustment, you automatically eliminate all the flippers because no one's going to buy it and be able to flip it and make any money. So now that eliminates them. You focus on who's actually interested in the car, and then you make a judgment call. Well, it just so happened that like the day after the car got here, it was on the showroom floor. Our PDR vendor, the gentleman who does all our paintless dent removal on our cars, was highly interested in this car and decided he wanted to purchase it. So they sold it to him for MSRP. Why would they sell it to him for over? You know, he's a great guy. He's a friend of the dealership. It's a perfect person to have this car. And believe me when I tell you, he's not flipping this car. He's actually decking out his garage in C8 paraphernalia and all sorts of stuff. And he's going to have this car for quite a while for him and his family to enjoy. The last thing I want to touch on is just my last video. If you noticed, I'm generally very active in my comments on my videos. And that last video, I kind of posted and ghosted, right? So I came in on that Tuesday. It was my day off. I had to meet with a client, an appointment that I set up. I was doing some things and I said, you know what? Let me just put a video together. I did that. I uploaded it and I went directly to the gym. At the gym, I hopped on the treadmill. I ran 10 miles. I ended up walking an extra mile and a half because I wanted to see how long I can go before the treadmill turned itself off. Then I did like a 45-minute workout. When I hopped on one of the machines, I grabbed my phone and I looked, and it was like 2 hours after I uploaded the video, and I had like 70 something comments, which is way more than I normally get. So a couple things. One, the math on that video, I did accidentally screw up. Somebody actually commented that YouTubers will do that intentionally to get comments, which is actually very smart. With the risk of sounding incompetent, I didn't do that. It was actually just that I doubled the tax when I calculated it on a piece of paper I was using when I created that little image to put on the screen. I didn't realize that I doubled the tax, and that's why that math was off. The other part of the video is that video was a lot of sarcasm, and I thought I laid it on pretty thick because the things I was asking were so intrusive. It's something that as a salesperson, I would never ask. Now, I'm more than willing to give financial advice in any which way if a customer asks me, but there is no way I would ask a customer to actually look into their bank statements and determine whether I feel they are able to buy a car. It's not my decision as a salesperson. So when people say you're giving bad financial advice on a car deal, it's like, I don't see the whole picture. All I can do is provide the sale price, the financing, the lease payments, whatever it may be. And then it's up to the bank to decide whether that person can be approved for that car and take delivery of it. And then they're paying the bank. The bank pays us. If for some reason that client doesn't pay their bills and that car is repoed, that's on the bank. The bank took the risk. The bank made the decision to loan them the money. Now in my video, that point was proven because a lot of people did comment that the things I was saying was very intrusive. All right, later. All right, I got sidetracked there. In a future video, you're gonna see what is going to be the coolest Tahoe, new body Tahoe Z71. That was my buddy Jesse. He just got 35s put on his truck, among a bunch of other things he's been doing to it. So we're gonna put a video together once we find the proper day. Hopefully it'll be one day this month. What was I talking about? We were touching on the last video, the fact that it was a lot of sarcasm. It was basically a video, a hypothetical story in a video to try to prove a point. That, again, I'm a salesperson. I'm not a financial advisor. So when people say I'm giving bad financial advice, it's like, well, I'm really not giving financial advice. And again, I think my point was proven in that video because so many of you commented that the things I was asking, going through the checking account, wondering why you're taking $200 out of an ATM machine on Fridays, all that sort of stuff was horribly, horribly intrusive. And that is something I would never do. Now, I would give any advice that somebody asked, and I would treat that person I'm in front of no different than I would treat a family member, my best friend, whatever. Like, I'm gonna give you the proper advice, and that's what I've done my whole career, and I think that's why half the deals I sell are either repeat or referral business. That's what happens. You build a customer base, you stay in the same store for a long time, and it starts paying dividends in the future because people just keep coming back.